What's going on, Miami Dolphin fans? Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and coming up here on today's video, I have 4 Dolphins overreactions after their 17-9 victory over the Houston Texans. Now, when I do these overreactions, I try to find the top trending stories going around the internet, and then we get a little bit hot takey, get a little bit spicy, as I usually say, and again, it's overreactions. So the reason why we're talking about this is because this is going to be the first Dolphins victory since they took down New England, 17-16, all the way back in Week 1. It's been a long, long time. So really, when you're thinking about some of these overreactions, we're going to talk about some of the bigger name players. I actually also have an update on Tua Tagovailoa in terms of his overall health and what's going to be happening for him. But when you look at some of these numbers here, like Tyrod Taylor, he really struggled. He had 3 interceptions. Jacoby Brissett, he had a touchdown, 2 picks. Phillip Lindsay had 8 carries, 28 yards. Brandon Cooks, they really weren't able to do too much on the offensive side of the football, and I think a lot of this goes down to Miami's defense showed up today. And I especially want to give a lot of credit to that front 4 unit where they showed up. They got a lot of pressure on Taylor, who has been a little bit banged up himself from top to bottom. I like the involvement of Jalen Waddle. Myles Gaskin, he got plenty of carries. Sure, he averaged only 1.7 yards per carry, but he ended up coming away with a touchdown. He ended up getting a fumble as well. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to go over the 4 overreactions for the Miami Dolphins after their 17-9 victory. Maybe before I start getting into some of mine, if you want to let me know down in the comments section, maybe an overreaction that you've seen going on in the internet, because at the end of the day, this show is about the host being able to handle go ahead and have a conversation with the audience, but it's also about Dolphins fans interacting with us down in the comments section. So how about you guys go ahead, give me one of your overreactions, and then I'm going to give you 4 of mine. So we're going to be talking about Jacoby Brissett. We're going to talk about Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to talk about the defense. I'm also going to get into a little bit going on with Mike Gesicki. So my first overreaction is this. Is it time to start Jacoby Brissett for the rest of the 2021 season? And I'm kind of doing this a little bit because there was a report that came out earlier last week that apparently Brian Flores wanted Justin Herbert over Tua, and I was like, well, personally, I think that's kind of BS. And then Flores literally said just, I believe, a week and a half ago that Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the starter for the rest of the year, where then I said, remember a few years ago he said Josh Rosen was going to start the whole year, and then Ryan Fitzpatrick ended up doing it. So in terms of Brissett, he had 26 of 43, 244 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I'm not the biggest Tua fan, which for those of you that watch the show, you probably know that. But here's the question that I'm going to go out there and ask. Should Brissett start at quarterback for the rest of the year? I want you to type S for start, or I want you to go down to the comments section and type B for bench. And the reason why I wanted to, again, bring this up, the Dolphins won a game. And I see people on Twitter and on Instagram and on social media like, yes, you got to start Brissett. I'm going to say B for bench because, no, if Tua Tagovailoa is 100% healthy, then you throw him out there and you got to see what he is. Because if you draft somebody that high, it's really as simple as that. Brissett played okay. He also showed signs where he was not very good, and it was also against the Texans. So I'm saying, no, you don't start Brissett. You got to see what Tua is. The next story coming up here is Tua going to be playing on Thursday Night Football. Now, remember, it's a quick turnaround. Personally, I think he'd have a better chance of playing if it was on a Sunday game, but the fact that he missed Week 9 with a middle finger, which I'm showing you guys right now, he does have a fractured finger on his throwing hand. Brian Flores stated today on Monday that he's going to be day-to-day, and it's uncertain whether or not he's going to be playing up against Baltimore. I'm a betting man personally. I'm going to go ahead and say that I do not personally think that Tua is going to be ready in time to battle the Ravens on Thursday Night Football. But it's not a matter of, do I think he's going to play? Do you guys want Tua to play this week? Yes or no? So type Y for yes, type N for no. The only way that I'm going to go ahead and type my Y for yes is this, and it's really simple. He's got to be 100% healthy. It can't be 90%, can't be 80%. No. When it comes to Tua Tagovailoa, with all the injuries that this young man has already had from his time in Alabama and already in the NFL, he has to be 100% healthy, because if he's not, you're risking further injury. Whatever is going to happen to him in his career, he's got to be 100% healthy. Now, for those of you that heard me earlier said, I'm a betting man. Well, if you're a betting man or woman, you can head on over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Dolphins125. It's going to get you 125% deposit bonus. So imagine a world. Well, actually, you don't even have to imagine, because it's real, where you deposit $100, you get $125 for free to bet with, and for first-time BetUS users, I'm also going to throw in a free, yes, I said free, Dolphins jersey. So how do you get the hookup? You go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Dolphins125. You deposit $100, you get $125 for free. Make at least one bet. It could be a $5 bet of the Dolphins covering the spread or whatever against Baltimore. And then send me, which is jersey@chatsports.com, a screenshot of your account number and a bet you're made. We got a bunch of different jerseys on tap as well. So if all you heard was free jersey, it's okay. Email me, jersey@chatsports.com, for the details. All right, let's go to my next overreaction here after the Dolphins 17-9 win over the Houston Texans. Miami, it's time to extend Mike Gesicki. And the reason why I'm going to go ahead and say this is because, yes, I 100% agree with the idea of going out and giving Mike Gesicki a contract extension, because if you didn't decide to trade him, and at the NFL trade deadline, one of the players that I brought up was, in fact, Gesicki, because he's entering the final year of his deal, which, you know, you can say what you want, but since he was drafted out of Penn State, you have to be very excited about what you've seen from him on and also off the field. He's considered a leader. He's one of the biggest reasons why this team is actually able to move the football through the air whatsoever. But he's got 529 receiving yards this season. That leads the team. If you haven't seen the Gesicki catch from what he did this past week against Texans, I encourage you to Google it, look it up, because it just goes to show how much of a freak athlete this young man has been. And every single year that he's been in the league, he's gotten better and better and better. And that is a very key aspect to young players. 2018 as a rookie, 22 catches, 202 yards. 2019, 51 grabs, 570 yards. Shout out to the 570. It's my area code. That's where I'm from. And then in 2020, 53 grabs, 703 yards, 6 touchdowns. So here's my question to you. If you're going to go out and extend Mike Gesicki, would you pay him $8 million a year? I want you to type 1 for yes, or I want you to go ahead and type 2 for no. For those of you out there saying, yes, I would, that's good. For those of you typing 2 for no, you better hope that Gesicki only gets $8 million a year, because if he continues the pace that he is currently on with 83 grabs, 999 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 51 first downs, I'm telling y'all right now, he's going to end up making more than $8 million a year. I personally think he's a top 10 tight end, and the fact that he's putting up the numbers that he is and the offense that he's in currently goes to show how talented this young man is. All right, my last overreaction. The Dolphins have the worst offensive line in all of football. And the very first game when I saw Liam Eichenberg go at left tackle, I'm like, you know what? This might actually work. Eichenberg looks pretty good. Well, the past few games, it's been bad, man. Like, Eichenberg might actually be worse at left tackle than Austin Jackson. But I don't know if they're the worst line in football. I personally think it's between Miami, Chicago. You could also sprinkle in Houston. I mean, watching both sides of the football, watching both sides of the offensive line in yesterday's game, that was tough to watch. But in terms of the Bears, they've allowed 30 sacks in 8 games. 30 sacks in 8 games. Miami's allowed 23 sacks in 9 games. The reason why I'm going to say, you know what? I think Miami's got the worst overall offensive line is because Miami is the only team in the NFL right now ranked in the bottom in terms of Pro Football Focus grades, and pass blocking, ranked dead last, and then run blocking, ranked 30th. I mean, look at this. 49.0 in terms of pass blocking grade according to PFF. That's dead last, y'all. It doesn't get much worse than that. In fact, it does get really much worse than that. And then for the Dolphins in their run blocking grade, they're ranked 30th in the NFL. All I'm saying is if you can't run block, you can't pass block, it's really hard to be able to move the football. Some changes need to happen. And I get that you invested early in Austin Jackson and you invested early in Liam Eichenberg, but you're moving all these young players around so darn much that it's making it very difficult for them to learn a position. So what do y'all think about this? Does Miami have the worst offensive line in the NFL? I want you to type W for worst, type NW for not worst. And when you're looking at a lot of these players, I wasn't really high on Austin Jackson. I thought he was more of a second-round type of pick. Liam Eichenberg was a player that I did like. I mean, we really got to start thinking about Is it time for the Dolphins to go out and hire a new offensive line coach? Maybe that's the question I should have asked. But if you made it this far in the video, I guess that means we're doing something right around here. So please go ahead and like it. And if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that big red button that says subscribe.